This is Gangi Tinjong River Jong, Gahwa Mepa, Jimepa, Chapa Mepa, Tagmepa, Onwa Mepa, Romeba, Tad Tonman, Tonchigman, Tupa Nye Shishir Tonba, Zopa Sanji Manam, Tamba de la Jonzo, that which arises interdependent. It's from Nagarjuna. Beautiful. Thank you. Good morning. Oh, Norji Chimbo, Udening Mega, Sonny Molam Chimbo, Nabjata, Parker Taranga Sandu, Hirm Tumba Tukje, Janla, Kipsha, and so Shom, Chuje on the Podana, Distant Sanji Kunjing on your Ransom Churkung on some dons, but Zavi Lamana. Kevja and Zari, Konda Hiljitung, Jigdeno, there's a Lummerger or Consa, the Thunder on the Chuji Chamberji, Zambrando Button, Lai Kadon, Ladon, Ubjinga, the Drum Dada, May, Kanam Dan, Roa Kunjit, Get Jetsamba, Tamchi, Cut the Gate, you dan to Namkoto. Nyambasim Jendan, Jitan, the Zobasan, Jikombarum, Boja, Tobreja, the Jet, the Tambachun, the Yasen, Yamsalim, Brishaw, and Yambasamba, Shanchim Chok, the Tukjipa, Hunta, Locker, Serta Bigonis, Ambarish. That's how to say in Tibet. Correct your motivation. Welcome, everybody. I would like to share with all of you today my practice experience and my understanding about these teachings. So today's topic, the teaching, we will talk about distinguished by 4 seals or 4 characteristics, 4 truths. This is a very famous teaching. I heard this name, this teaching, when I was like, 8 years old. So, very important teaching. Other than Martin requesting this. Thank you. I thought that's a great idea. So this is very important to understand for Buddhist Dharma practitioners. But first of all, just as I said, I want you to understand 3 important things, right? No matter what, every single teaching, practice, meditation, whatever. First of all, how you start your meditation, how you start listening your Dharma teaching, which is practiced with pure motivation, rose bodhicitta mind. Just to remind you about, you all know this, so I don't want to talk about it in detail. And that's how you start pure motivation. Then how you maintain the practice meditation and listen teaching, which is try to have a mind free from lots of thoughts, negative thoughts. So practice and listen sort of without distractions. Try to without negative thoughts. And then at the end, we dedicate how you finish your practice, which is the dedicated, your meditation, the virtues, everything for the sake of all sentient beings. Those are, Longchenpa called those 3 spring methods. It's very important. Uh, uh, you all know this, but just to remind you, very important. Now, the topic for the seal, four seals of Dharma. They call it 4 seals of Dharma. These are all compounded things are impermanent. 1. 2, all contaminated phenomena are suffering. And 3, all phenomena are empty of self-existence. And then finally, enlightenment is peace or beyond concept. So these 4 seals of Dharma or Buddhist view so the main, this is the seal, 4 seals. Seal means here in Tibetan, chakja. Chakja means something like you cannot go beyond outside of these rules if you are sort of considering a Buddhist practitioner. So this is the Buddhist view. If you understand this, then you have a Buddhist view and wisdom. This view, 4 seals, are very important because your wisdom comes from a mind, right, that has what the Buddhists call that as view, right view, right view. The right view is very important because ultimately it is the view that determines your motivation and then your action. So it is the view that guides you on the path of Buddhism. That's why this is Tawa Kartak Shirjaj. Tawa means view. So 4 seals, 4 view, so important. Tawa means in Tibetan view. Tawa. That's why the view is important because the wisdom. Because the correct view, it comes from your wisdom and your knowledge. And with the correct view, then you're able to meditate, correctly. Meditate, practice, meditate correctly. And through meditation, you develop right actions, attitudes. Come on in. So in order to develop a correct view, what do? You don't just receive these teachings, though, but rather you must analyze and examine these 4 seals of Dharma, the teachings. So you have to always make sure that you believe your trust, your belief is based upon reasoning, good reasoning, and your investigation. Then, if you think it is true, it makes sense, then you have to believe it. But Mapam Rinpoche, the Nyingma teacher, he said that the important is your belief cannot be called belief until certainty. And that certainty, it has to be developed through investigate and study, until it becomes very certainty. But in order to be able to do that, you have to practice, you have to sort of go through this whole process. Listen teaching, hearing teaching, investigate, and then teaching put into meditation, all of that, all of this process. Then you can develop your correct view, you can develop your wisdom. So that is view, right? That is view. View is the way thinking about something very sort of correctly and with good reasons. Now, these four seals of Dharma, we see in Buddhism, all of those schools of, in India, the Buddhism, based on the Buddha's teachings, recognize the four seal of Dharma as the distinction between true Buddhism and not true Buddhism. So, for example, a teaching that contradicts any of these four seals is not a true Buddhist teaching. And who believes and practices that kind of teaching is not Buddhist practitioner. The Buddhist teachers always said that if you, first of all, you have to understand these four seals of Dharma, right? And then if you cannot accept that all compounded things are impermanent, if you believe that there is concept that is permanent, they said, then you are not Buddhist. Second, if you cannot accept that all these contaminated phenomena are suffering or emotions are pain, sometimes they translate in sakchi tamchi dukharwa. Sakchi means in Tibet like defilements or the emotions. Dukharwa means pain, suffering, right? So sometimes they translate, but I like the contaminated or suffering. If you cannot accept that all emotions or contaminated are suffering, if you believe that actually some emotions are purely pleasurable at all times from beginning to end, then you are not Buddhist, because that's not Buddhist view. And if you cannot accept that all phenomena are empty, if you believe that certain things do exist inherently, then you are not Buddhist. And then finally, if you think that enlightenment truly exists somewhere, whatever, and not free from all these liberations, then you are not Buddhist. So therefore, these are these four seals of Dharma, four truths of Dharma, makes you different between Buddhist or non-Buddhist. In order to be an authentic Buddhist, you must accept these four seals of Dharma and with your sort of correct view, just as I said, right? Then you have to believe. Very important to understand. I mean, it's not necessary to constantly mindful, of these four seals or truths, but they must, reside in your mind. It's like your name, You have to kind of keep it. This is my name. So I'm a Buddhist because these are my view. These are my wisdom. These are my practice. These are the truth. But you can investigate. The Buddhists call these are the truth. So now anyone who accepts these four seals, four Dharma these views, even like independently of Buddha's teachings, I think can be considered to be on the same path as Buddha, same path as Buddhist practitioners and bodhisattvas, And the teachers always say that, as long as you have these four seals of Dharma as your view, then nothing can go wrong. That's what they say. Nothing can go wrong. Because if you practice these four seals of Dharma, then you will get these things. The renunciation, because what is the first? All compounded things are impermanent. So if you practice that, then the result of that practice, you develop your renunciation. And second is all contaminated suffering, pain. You practice that, you can develop your bodhicitta, your compassion. And then emptiness, right? All phenomena are empty. Emptiness. You have that. And then enlightenment, right? So that's why the teachers always say, if you practice, as long as you practice these four Dharma cells as your view, then nothing can go wrong, because you will get these things: renunciation, compassion, emptiness, and enlightenment. That's the point. That's why nothing can go wrong. So you see, these are the truths. Therefore, Buddhism is sort of, to make you understand the truth. First, you have to understand the truth. Then you have to accept, practice. Now, again, first, all compounded things are impermanent, right? You understand this. All compound things are impermanent. This means, the Buddhist point of view, all things arise due to the causes and conditions, right? And are therefore impermanent. That's the reason. All compounded things are impermanent, because of cause and conditions, depends on cause and condition. Therefore, they're impermanent. You always hear impermanent, right, in Buddhist teaching. Always. Always. Very important, because very important. That's why the truth. So impermanent, which is everything changes from moment to moment, right? And ceases very quickly. That's the definition. That's the characteristic of impermanent. For example, the birth leads to the death. Good becomes bad. Bad, turns good. And then we have this, the present becomes past. And so many like that, etc. That means nothing that arises has an inherently existing essence. But when we're talking about impermanent, impermanent doesn't mean only death. It means just change. I'm a Tibetan Buddhist point of view. Impermanent means just change. And this change is, Buddha said, inevitable. And so therefore, now the death is big change. Death is just a part of this change and inevitable. Death. So once we understand this change, this impermanent, we can see that the moment we are born, we're subject to death. And what is the main reason that everything is impermanent? Just as I said, the reason is that any Dharma, any phenomena that has arisen from their causes and conditions, it is impermanent. Everything conditioned is impermanent. Everything conditioned impermanent. So here the word conditioned means anything depend upon cause and circumstances. Therefore, all our experience and the whole world are compounded. Do you understand? All compounded things are impermanent. That's the first seal of Dharma, right? So therefore, all our experience and the whole world are compounded, conditioned, compounded or conditioned. Changing all the time. It's like a bubble, when you look at the bubble in the water, it looks like it is there, right? It looks like it is there. It looks like, it exists, but then next moment it's gone, So everything is like that. Everything's like that. The whole world means all the people, all the people, all the beings. And also on our inner level, what we feel, how we think, all our pleasure and pain, and everything is changing every single moment. It never remains constant. This is the truth. That's why this is a seal, You can't go beyond kind of this rule, this nature. That's why Buddha said you have to accept this truth. This is Buddhist view. So that is the meaning of impermanent. We're talking about impermanent, right? And that is the definition of impermanent, and that is the good way to understand the meaning of impermanent. So whole world, to understand whole world, everything outside, inside, everything is compounded. Means like depends on cause and conditions. That's why it's impermanent. Good way to also there is a good reason. For example, if you look at time, the time is usually involved with the nature of change. It's very easy to understand. The time and everything are related, right? So we have 3 times, right? The past time, which is gone, the past time passed. And then we have future time, which has not yet arrived. And then we have present. Actually, we have only the present moment. Present moment, this is present moment. But the nature of this present moment, this time, is process of changing. Momently. But the problem is we did not think this present moment, like this present moment is process changing, right? But we didn't think it that way. just I think just we know, right? We know that, but this bad habit, this permanent, we're clinging to the permanent, right? That's why we just don't see it. People say, "Oh, today is what, Saturday, right? Today is a beautiful day, very nice. Sun is shining, and temperatures warm up, like 60, 70 degrees. Beautiful." And then people say, you're very busy, in your office, and you are stuck there whole day. And then you can't get up. And then when you come back, right? When you come back from your work, it's gone. It's gone, right? Sun is not there. Temperature is top. So we said today is a wonderful day, but we don't really actually, we don't kind of enjoy it. So we know, right? We may know, intellectually, that things are impermanent, but we don't perceive things are that way. That is the big problem, because this habit. So that habit, the Buddhist point of view, that is the problem. That is a problem. And we are really making the mistake of seeing everything in a permanent way, right? For example, last time we had a teaching here, same. Everything looks same, right? Everything looks same. Today we're here, same place, same teachers, same people, everything same, but it's not really same. For example, a river, water, flows with fresh water every moment, always changing, right? But if we go there a year later, we think it's still same river, same water. So that means this clinging to sort of taknzen in Tibetan. Taknzen means clinging to permanent, this habit so strong. I went there, Mississippi River last year with my friend, and we did this and that. And then this year, just by myself here, because my friend unfortunately died, right? Something like that, You can see the death. Death is a big change, but then this subtle impermanence, we don't see it. I'm here, same river, Mississippi River, but it's not. It's like even every moment is different. So we have to really remember it. We have to just, that's why Buddhist teaching always talking about this impermanent. That's what we understand. That doesn't mean you don't understand, but we don't just act that way. We just don't perceive, everything is permanent way, So this permanent sort of, this habit is difficult to change. Not easy, not very easy. So mystic, right? If we see this permanent way, it's the wrong view. Wrong view is to regard something that is impermanent to be permanent is to be mistaken. Wrong view. So really, it's impossible to find anything conditioned that will last forever. Therefore, the Tibetan word for impermanence, mrtakpa, impermanence. Mrtakpa means not lasting. It means like subject to change. There is nothing bad thing about impermanence, or thinking about impermanence. Impermanence, very nature, very, very important. The good thing about impermanence is if you think if there is no impermanence, there is no progress. There is no change for the, better, Therefore, the Buddhist point of view, the recognition of impermanence is the key of freedom from suffering. That's why I think they all the time talk about impermanence and, practice impermanence, right? Right now, people sort of suffering from not knowing this truth, this nature, this reality. Buddhist view, impermanent is the reality, is the nature of our life, nature of everything. But we are suffering from not knowing this true nature. That is the source, that is the cause of suffering. The cause of suffering is not knowing, compounded things impermanent, not knowing contaminated are suffering, not knowing all phenomena are empty, not knowing. That's why we're suffering, right? We think our body is pure and permanent. That's why all these problems come, attachment, anger, everything like that, because of this wrong view. So therefore, very important. That is the key point. The key is freedom from suffering, if you understand impermanence. There are a lot of problems in this life, but we do have a lot of choices, right? Chance, opportunities. So we can change. We can change our lives. We can change. We can transform our suffering into happiness, good life, because of impermanence, I think. Very important. But most people think that impermanence of all things is sort of, when you're thinking about it, kind of unpleasant. In fact, they would rather ignore it, ignore it. If we talk about from your birth, when you think about your birth, that moment you're subject to death. People don't want to think about it, right? People don't want to think about it. They want to they understand, but they just don't want to think, and they just ignore it, right? So how many people here practice and think about impermanence? Raise their hand. Wow. Practice and think about impermanence every single day. Me.
More than once a day.
More than once a day. At least 1 hour, 20 minutes. Every day. That's good for you. So how do you feel about it? If you think about practice impermanence, how do you feel it? Yeah?
I recognize impermanence in a lot of things, but when I look at a statue that's solid like Shakyamuni, other things around behind you, I just wonder, how can that be impermanent? It looks so solid.
Yep, because of I understand. Completely, I understand.
But as far as my emotions and everything, I know about impermanent, and what I think about during the day, they don't.
Well, you think about where they come from. Causes and conditions. Causes and conditions. That's the reason, I think that's the logic, best logic, in order to understand all compounded things are impermanent. So you guys good, right? You guys very happy. I'm very happy. Think about the impermanent. Most people, never question their day-to-day experience. Day-to-day experience. They accept whatever is felt and perceived as real, permanently. So again, Buddhist point of view, don't think about impermanence. It's very negative though, because then you are not accept the reality, the truth. Then it is we call wrong view. That wrong view is negative thoughts. I'm a negative mind. Because without examining anything, you will never see the truth. In order to understand the truth, you have to investigate, you have to practice, you have to think about, right? Then you will see the truth. And if you have some experience or practice impermanent, you will behave differently. Definitely. Mentally, physically, emotionally, you are not so solid. You think. You be very kind, gentle, Your behavior is totally different. If you have some experience of this, the practice impermanent. If you practice this, it helps you less attachment and desire for sure, right? And there are other many, benefits to practice impermanent. Impermanence makes all these things possible and makes everything better, makes your life better, become a good person. But the idea of permanent, people just don't want to think about the life gets shorter every day, every minute. People don't want to think about it. But you see, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. You think, you don't think about your life getting shorter. It doesn't matter. You can't change. It's getting shorter. Day to day, moment to moment. You're just subject to death. It's just you don't think, or you think, or it doesn't matter. But the benefit of practice, you think about your life impermanent. You will recognize that you don't want to waste your life. No meaningfully, If you think about impermanence, you want to do something good, like practice meditation, help others, be kind, whatever. Like, this six parameters, like generosity, discipline, all this. You want to do something. You want to do something good, do something meaningful, right? That is the result, practice impermanent. That makes your life meaningful. I don't want to waste my life. This is so impermanent, I want to do something. I want something sort of meaningful in my life. So that makes your life meaningful. And then you do something like, or practice meditation, generous, discipline, all these things. If you do that, that makes you very happy. Makes you very, very happy. I mean, if you want to have happiness. But first of all, it's kind of uncomfortable. Think about, my life is, the time is too short in my life, getting short. It's kind of uncomfortable. But then that is not the point. The point is you want to do something. You don't want to waste your time, and you do something good. And that action makes you really, really happy because, you think, this is my life. This is really meaningful, right? So what is necessary is to realize that the time is short and the death is uncertain. That's what we say Buddhist teachers. Time is short, death is uncertain. You never know. Because of that, try to do something good and meaningful. But if you think, okay, the time is short and death is uncertain, that's it. That doesn't work. That doesn't help you. But so that, you think of that, and because of that, then you do something good. Do something good. It protects you, like from suffering. So at least you should sort of, enjoy and happy with your life. So as your desire, attachment, and clinging to only for this life decrease, then you start to understand the purpose of this life. And then you will begin to sort of engage in practice, spiritual, the Dharma practice. You begin to think from this practice, impermanence, then you begin to think, what is the use? Nothing lasts anyway. That's automatically come to your mind. What is the use? Nothing lasts anyway. And then you start to have the idea that nothing is really worth. And through that, you can have some experience of contentment and satisfaction, right? Satisfaction. Everything's impermanent. So nothing is really worth. Nothing lasts, So through that kind of view, then you have some experience. There's, satisfaction, contentment. What do you call it? Contentment and satisfaction. That makes you really, really happy. From my experience, believe me. Contentment and satisfaction. That make you really, really, really happy. This is usually what I think. If people or me, if we have lots of things like property or whatever, like money is lots of things, wonderful, we need it, good. If I have like millions of dollars, makes me happy, for sure. But if I don't have, I'm also okay. Definitely I'm fine. So either way, it's fine. Some people say that, oh, you are, enlightened being. No, I'm not. No, I'm not enlightened person. No, definitely not. But if you see as me like enlightenment, good for you, right? Good for you. There is a story, remember? Story in What Am I Perfect Teacher? This dog's tooth, They see this old lady, then because of that, and her soul, the devotion and faith, so that she, attained enlightenment. It's good for you, but no, I'm not. But what I have is I have really satisfaction and contentment. That's for sure. That's make me really happy. I remember last time I told you, I am the most happiest person in this world. That's for sure. Because of this, I think, if I have a lot of things, if I wanted something, I bought it. If I lose something, it's fine, I think. It's fine to me. I mean,
Who wants to volunteer to make Khenpo a t-shirt that says happiest person in the world?
That's for sure. I don't have a big sort of, for example, when I teach like this, my motivation is very pure, for sure. You know, I make sure that when I leave in, from my apartment, right away I correct my motivation. This is not for fame. This is not for good reputation. This is not for wealth or nothing. It's pure. I just want to help people and want to share my experience about Buddhism. That's the reason. So that's why I think that makes me happy, because I have small sort of brain and pure small motivation. So when I think about impermanence, really, that's what I'm saying. When I practice impermanence, then I can see right away this satisfaction, and contentment. This is the renunciation. I think I have a little bit of renunciation. You can say that. And I have a little bit of bodhicitta. You can say that. But I'm not definitely enlightened being. Even I'm not closer to, become enlightenment. No. So we will talk about enlightenment later. But if you really, this makes you, this renunciation doesn't mean you have to give up everything. You can have everything, but, if you don't have something, that's okay too. So that makes you really happy. So think about practice. Think about in practice, impermanent has really many benefit and good, the purpose. So Buddha said first, through practice this, through the impermanence, you can develop a strong motivation for the Dharma. What is really meaningful in our life? What is the one thing? It's Dharma. You can see it. And then through that sort of, also impermanent, a strong interest in the Dharma will come, definitely. Because you know the benefit of practice Dharma. And then you really start to practice because of you thinking about impermanent, right? I don't want to waste my time. And then the benefit of understanding of impermanent, you become satisfied with whatever you have. And then you get sort of interest in liberation, this enlightenment. That is the key, that is the benefit of practice impermanent. Right? That's why, so, you understand everything. There is nothing new today, this teaching. I always talk about, remember when we talk about practice, this outer preliminaries, inner preliminaries, everything. You have to practice impermanent because that is the foundation, your view. When you practice, as long as you practice impermanence, you are accepting the truth, the reality, the nature. You understand that the truth, the seal of Dharma. So that's why there are so many good things practice impermanent. Okay, now 15 minutes. Practice, meditation, okay? We should practice impermanent. So, what is this meditation? We call this as analytical meditation, right? Analytic meditation, because you are thinking, you are investigating something, you are developing your wisdom, right? This kind of practice. But with your breath. It's very, very helpful, right? So when you meditate impermanent, there are so many different instructions for practice impermanence. The Word of My Perfect Teacher. There's so many chapters, right? I'm sure you know that. But today, start when you breathe in. Think that impermanence, one movement of your breath, is continual process of changing, right? When you breathe in, like slowly you're focused on your breath, but little bit also there are sort of, analytic sort of thinking. When you breathe in slowly, then you can see this continual process of changing. Just that, nothing else. You just make sure that you understand this. Your breath, everything is like when you breathe in is changing. How? Because of cause and conditions. Then you breathe out. You should recognize that one moment of your breath is continual process of season, right? Season. When you breathe out slowly, then when you stop, it's gone. It's gone. This is your life. This is our lives, right? Now you see the subtle movement sort of change is impermanent. Take that example to all other situations, Everything looks like that. Everything is like your breath. You can see this changing process. Now you can see everything like around you, your life, your situation. Everything is like that. Little bit thing. This time, if you take this kind of example to other like situation, you don't have to focus on your breath, but then you make sure that everything also like process of changing like that, right? And then just relax. Just relax. When you relax, don't think, don't investigate anything, don't think, just relax for a second. And then look deeply into your mind. And your senses, deeply into whatever you see or hear, whatever, all of them changing, this process of changing moment by moment, right? Just recognize that. Just recognize that. Then again, breathe in. This is your instruction. So how you think? Like, for example, when you breathe in like that, and then breathe out like that, thinking about impermanence, this process of change. We're not stable. When we meditate like this 15 minutes, few minutes, we can see it. The moment changing, we can see it, we recognize it. But then we don't meditate, then everything is solid again. Same thing, right? But if you practice this many times, over and over again, then your mind completely in this way, like you see everything like process of changing all the time. Then you think about how do you feel that? If you have that kind of experience 24 hours, then believe me, your behavior your actions totally different. But when we practice like impermanence like that, you can see, you recognize your life, everything. You are very open, you are very gentle, right? But when we don't practice, then we have this strong habit. Oh, okay, I have this problem, my work, okay, this person make me really suffering. Oh, this. So, there are so many plans, in your life, if I don't do this, then okay, my business corrupts, so all these problems come. That means you have no impermanence mind. So bodhisattvas like that, they always think impermanence. When they go to sleep at night, tomorrow I don't know, tomorrow maybe I die, maybe not. So up down your cups like that. Maybe tomorrow I don't want to use this cup. So just like that. They always have this kind of idea of impermanence 24 hours in their mind, and then their action, their everything is totally different, and they're very satisfied, everything, what they have. They're not suffering. We have, the other day I saw the news in our country, thousands people suicide and killed because of their firm suffering. The suffering, there's so many different sufferings. They need something, they can't have it. All this dissatisfaction. They're suffering. That's why if you practice, it's protect your life. So you can see it, everything like. So now I'm like that kind of, okay? That this is, an analytic meditation, and this is what we need. Not only this moment, right? But 24 hours. Try to understand and remember impermanence of life. So this is a very easy way to practice impermanence, okay? So you should accept whatever arises without reacting sort of emotionally. Your emotions, this negative emotion, it's impermanent. It's impermanent. It will change. It will change. It will change. I can change, right? You can change because it's impermanent. So you should accept whatever arises, whatever happens. It's part of you, part of the, whatever it happens, it's part of the nature process, nature of this life. So everything, if you do this like practice, this kind of meditation, everything to arise and then dissolve. That's it. Arise and dissolve. Arise and cease. That's practice impermanent. And then your mind is okay. Everything is okay. Everything is moving, changing. That's your practice, okay? For a few minutes, please. Now I need to use this. So.